So welcome everyone. I'm sat here today with our trainee manager, David Smith. And I would love it, David, if you could tell us a little bit about what your role involves.
Yeah, sure. As training manager, my role involves overseeing the training of our trainees. So this ranges from the creation and updating of resources that form part of the training program that someone goes through, to the delivery of those training sessions and monitoring the progress of the trainees through their initial stages of the training program. In addition to that, I'm also manager at our Newcastle office, which has been open since 2018.
That's brilliant. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about what the department looks like and what types of work you cover?
Yeah, well, how the department looks like has changed a little bit over the last year. So we do have a Newcastle office, but in current times we are all working remotely at home, so we've been able to transition to that very effectively. In terms of trainees, we have certain trainees that are working at home at the moment, going through the programme. In terms of the type of work that we do a whole variety of legal aid work, predominantly in family legal aid work, so a lot of care proceedings, but we also cover other areas such as housing work and things like that too.
That's brilliant. Okay. And I think it'd be really interesting as well to talk about how you began your career in costs.
Well, I'd love to be able to say at this stage that it was always a path I always wanted to take since I was a child. I wanted to be a cost person. However, it was purely by chance. I'd finished studying and I was looking for graduate jobs, and I saw, I'm probably going to reveal my age a little bit here, but I saw an advert in a paper, and it was just looking for a trainee cost draftsman, and it was looking for someone with high levels of numeracy and accuracy. And having done maths, I thought that probably fitted what I was suited to. So I ended up applying for the job as well as other graduate jobs and getting the job. So I think really what it shows from my point of view is that you don't need to necessarily know the path you're going to take. And there's lots of jobs out there that you don't know a lot about. This one, which just might be suited to your skills.
I think that's absolutely true, and it's really interesting when you look at all of the people that work in the business as well, because the majority of them kind of fell into costs. So some people will know about it through working in solicitors' offices, but generally if you're not connected to kind of the legal industry, I think it is just something that most people haven't even heard about. But it's quite a nice desk-based professional job that I think is really well suited to a lot of people. So it's great to be able to kind of talk about it and get the message out. So what would be great to know as well is what you enjoy most about the job and the position.
Well, I've always enjoyed the actual costing side of it. So from starting as a trainee and being a cost drafts person, the actual costing of files and being able to sit and methodically work my way through something and be self-sufficient, be in charge of your own workload and just work through that by itself. That I always really enjoyed that. Moving on, as my career's gone on and I've moved into the training side of things, that's something which I've absolutely loved, the ability to be able to teach someone new skills that enable them to make a career for themselves. Yeah,
I think you're totally right. I think there's so much satisfaction in that, isn't there? If you can kind of import your wisdom and the things that you've learned and help somebody else kind of reach their potential. So I think it'd be really good, David, actually, if you could tell us about how you would describe the job of a trainee law cost draftsman.
Okay, well, I mean, the job is very much desk-based. So once you've been through the training, what your typical day would look like is you work from file to file. So you'll be going through a file of papers, preparing the bill of costs in that matter, and then moving on to the next file. But there's quite a variety in what you do because there's all sorts of different types of files you deal with, lots of different types of cases and building knowledge as it goes along. So there is a variety to it, but it's primarily a job that's desk-based and working through methodically the files of papers that you're given to work on, and managing that caseload as you go.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, and that actually leads us in really nicely to the next question, which is what is it that you look for in new trainees?
Well, I think probably the first thing to say is that we get really successful trainees from a variety of different backgrounds. So it doesn't necessarily need to be someone that has, say, for example, a law degree. We get people who've done all sorts of different things while studying. It's all done, the training's all done on a basis that we work from the principle that someone doesn't have any knowledge, any legal knowledge or experience. So really what I tend to look for is trying to find someone who has a really strong ability to learn new concepts, apply them, and then from that solid working base, being able to work accurately and efficiently as they go along. So a strong attention to detail. And I suppose like any job, when you're looking for someone, you're looking for someone with that. So it's that real desire to want to make a career for themselves in this line of work.
Yeah, I think that's true. And in terms of the application process, what we've found with people, it really doesn't matter. As long as you've got accuracy and kind of attention to detail, you can proactively manage your own caseload. From our point of view, all we're looking for is people who have minimum standard of English and math skills, so grade C and above and the equivalent. And we are just looking for kind of great people to join the team. I think it would be great to hear a little bit about the training program as well and how it works. I mean, we are in difficult times at the moment with COVID, so it'd be good to kind of talk about the plans for initial remote working as well, if you could take us through those things.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, the training program itself, there's so much knowledge now that's required working in legal costs that the way that we went about the training program was to really try to break that down so that someone goes through something step by step. You're not sort of bombarding someone with, right, you need to know everything on this first file that you're dealing with. So we have a mixture of online quizzes, guidance, tutorials, and practical exercises that someone will go through before they move on to actual live files. And in that way, we can control what someone experiences at what point, so that you're gradually taking them through the skills that they need that are going to be part of working on the files. The training doesn't stop there at that point. So even once you've gone through that initial stage and you've done all the exercises and built up that knowledge, when you're working on the real files, you'll be getting constant feedback because everything that you do is checked by your trainer. So you're getting feedback on what you've prepared, areas that you would look to do differently, do additional little bits of training to develop. And it's a constant ongoing process, and there's support around you to be able to go through that. So yeah, it's a very thorough program, and there is a lot to learn, but that's why we're looking for people that have that ability to take in new concepts and apply them and really sort of get the head down and go for something. In terms of COVID and the changes that brought about, then that inevitably has changed things. However, the way that we have adapted the training program means that this is something that someone can do set up remotely now. So we have it set up so that people will work online, go through the exercises. There'll be tutorials with the trainer that can be done via Microsoft Teams, it's like that, and all the support is there. And where necessary, we'll be able to provide software for them and equipment for them to be able to have everything that they need to do to be able to go through that. So it is a shift, but it's one that we've been able to adapt to. And I think it does provide a good opportunity for someone in current restrictions to be able to start a new career without having to be travelling into an office or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as soon as the situation with COVID is under control and we're able to get back into the office, it'll be really nice at that point for the trainees to have the ability to come in and meet the rest of the team and kind of have that experience going forward. And actually, I think we could turn this into quite a positive thing, because when it's really intense learning, you'll be doing that at home. You'll have, you know, the time and the headspace and no sort of distractions around the office for you. And then once the office is open up again, then you can kind of join the team and enjoy that side of it once the intense learning side of it has kind of calmed down a bit.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it probably does suit someone coming into that position and just being able to focus on trying to learn as much as you can through that initial stage. And that's what really serves someone well when they're taking that information early on. And, you know, this is the way that a lot of people are working at the moment, working remotely. So we've got to adapt to it. And I think we've got a good process in place now for someone to be able to do that.
Definitely. And I think what I love as well is that we're so committed every year to improving the programme again for the next cohort of trainees. And so our trainees that are going to be coming in for the positions in March, they'll be able to influence the way that we develop the training for the next round of trainees. So it's continually getting better. And I think that's quite a nice thing for trainees to have, the ability to influence the way that we make positive changes in the business. So what would you say are the key requirements then for being a great trainee? What is it that's really helpful to you as a training manager to see people kind of do?
I think, as mentioned, I think the ability to learn quickly and apply concepts quickly is a key one. But you know, you accept that people will learn in different ways. Some people you have to adapt in terms of they'll learn better working by themselves, reading through guidance and applying it. Sometimes one-to-one work is better, but whichever way it is, that ability to be able to learn things quickly, to be able to work independently, certainly there's a lot of that required once you get to files, to take responsibility for your own work, that although you've got someone there that's going to help guide you through things, it's still ultimately down to you to be able to do the learning required and to apply those skills. Additionally, I would look for someone that's particularly proactive as well. I think that makes a big difference. That they've got a real desire to want to make a go of it. They will spot things themselves and be able to come to you with, you know, already having researched little bits when looking for answers from you. And really, as they go on it, accuracy obviously is a big thing, and balancing that with the speed of work as well. It's getting that nice balance, being able to work efficiently and quickly, but at the same time doing so accurately. And I think that's where we see, you know, big steps made by people, that they can get that early on, that they know how to balance that appropriately, and can really develop a good career.
I think definitely. And the great thing is as well is if we see those skills from people, because we're a growing business, it's great then because we can offer progression opportunities and different projects, and loads of sort of different things would be available for those people that put the effort in. There will be somewhere they can go, there'll be new areas they can learn. There's always kind of progression opportunities for those kind of people who do really well. One of my favourite questions, which is a bit of a tricky one, is there anything that you know now, David, that you wish you'd known when you were training?
If I go back, I'd probably say to myself, really learn as much as you can early on, because I think that from my own personal point of view, where my career developed was once I did do some of my own research and learned some things for myself. That took me down the route of then being able to train other people. Having the knowledge is always a fantastic tool, because you're there to be able to help other people, which opens up opportunities, but also allows your expertise to develop. So for myself, that opened up avenues of going and doing training seminars for solicitors, looking at their, their practices and how they can be improved, and training our own staff. So knowledge is a massive thing, and if you can take that on early on, that it really serves you well.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. So for anybody out there who's interested in applying for the positions, all we need you to do is email recruitment@bidwellhenderson.co.uk with a copy of your CV and a covering letter giving us a rough idea of why it is that you'd like to apply for this position. Well, thank you, David, for your time, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.